We have got the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra here at SamMobile. This is our full hands-on with Samsung's latest Ultra tablet. Welcome back to SamMobile TV. You're here with Daniel. From a design point of view with the Tab S10 Ultra, there isn't much to write home about. If you knew what the Tab S8 Ultra looked like and the Tab S9 Ultra looked like, you know what the Tab S10 Ultra is going to look like, because aesthetically, it's the same. There are a couple of slight changes that Samsung have made. Things like the colored camera rings around the cameras of the Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra's rear camera, as you can see sort of there. It reminds me very much of the Flip 6 and the colored camera rings that had. And I guess you could say this colored sort of bar here for the S Pen is, I guess, kind of newish as well. And it is a fraction thinner. You can definitely see that when you hold it up next to the Tab S9 Ultra, that it is slightly ever thinner than what the Tab S9 Ultra was. But is that really a reason to go out and upgrade? Probably not. This isn't an upgrade video. This is a video if you're deciding to buy this at all. And it is nice. It's very nice and thin how they've made it. But outside of all of that, it's as it was. The display, however, is a different story. Whilst you might not think of it immediately on the surface, when you actually have it next to the Tab S9 Ultra, you notice it immediately. We now have the anti-reflective coating from the S24 Ultra here on the Tab S10 Ultra. And the viewing experience that this changes is immense. Using it outdoors, using it in light environments, it has made it so much more pleasurable to look at this screen because you're not getting reflections bouncing off everywhere. The other thing that it does too is it makes the colors like pop out and be more contrasty. The blacks are deeper, the blues are sort of more vibrant, and everything's sort of contrasted better because you can see it. So the other good thing I like though with the design is it still fits last year's keyboard case perfectly. They've not made any sort of changes to where the cameras sit and the S Pen. So if you had the keyboard case for the Tab S9 Ultra, you can use it here. There is a keyboard case that has a dedicated Galaxy AI button on the Tab S10 Ultra, but if you have last year's case, I don't think that's necessarily that important, but it might be. It'll be up to you. Speaking of Galaxy AI, the full Galaxy AI experience is here on the Tab S10 Ultra. Everything that you have on the phones is also here as well. What I will say is we do have a video with all of the Galaxy AI functions on Tab S10 Ultra that you can go and check out after this one, but they're all here and there's parity there. The other, I guess, interesting part about the Tab S10 Ultra is its performance and its hardware internally. What I really found interesting was that this is not using a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy. This is using a MediaTek Dimensity chip, which is crazy to say out loud, that Samsung in a flagship tablet is not using either their own Exynos or the latest Snapdragon. Now, is it bad at performing? Absolutely not. And the thing is, for what I use my tablet for, I won't notice a difference at all. But I think if you are going to do some heavier sort of loads, you will definitely see improvements. Just in the things that I do, I've noticed that things like Samsung DeX do actually boot incredibly fast. The whole process for launching DeX has in the past been a bit of a sort of barrier because of the length of time it takes to launch. But here, it was very, very quick. And even exiting out of DeX, again, it's not something that took a really long time. A couple of seconds of loading and it's back into the screen. Speaking of DeX, classic DeX is thankfully still here, but so is new DeX. And new DeX is the thing that is there by default when you first turn it on. So you will have to go into the connected devices menu, into Samsung DeX to switch it back to classic, because whilst I understand the concept of new DeX, it functionally isn't much different from normal One UI. The only thing you get differently is a permanent docked taskbar down the bottom. So when you do launch it, windows are already automatically in this format as opposed to launching in full screen. And you can have sort of a more, I guess, tailored multi-window experience. But outside of that, it's just One UI. So if you are looking for normal DeX, you do have to exit DeX first, hit classic, hit start DeX, and then go back into it. You can see how fast it launches though. It's very, very, very quick. Now look, I've been using this for about a month now, so I've had a bit of time to understand it, but I've been really careful. I haven't tried to use it too much because I don't want to take it to places and sort of risk people seeing it. So I've just kind of been really careful with where I've used it, and I've could disguised it in the keyboard case quite a lot. What I feel about it is it still has the same size battery as the Tab S10 Ultra, albeit in that slightly thinner package. It's still got the same 45 watt fast charging, which I haven't found to be too big of an issue. The battery does last a long time. The thing I'm going to definitely probably notice is seeing how that chip is optimized for a lot of the things you do on a tablet, because Samsung haven't used it before. So it's just going to be a case of figuring out how it's been optimized for things like Adobe Premiere Rush or LumaFusion, trying to figure out that process of whether it's going to work as optimal as what the Snapdragon did or whether it needs a bit more time. That's something I'm going to dive into in my full review when I use this a little bit longer, because I will need a bit more time as just after I switch from my Tab S10 Ultra, which is currently over here as my source monitor for the camera, and then obviously having the Tab S10 Ultra to be used as my main device. It's an interesting one. I don't know whether Samsung needed to do this. The Tab S10 Ultra could have lived another 6 months, and then they released the Tab S10 Ultra alongside the S25, because that 18-month cycle I think was working. It gave everyone enough time to get used to their tablet they were using. Should they need to, they upcycle to the next one. And I definitely enjoyed that from the Tab S8 Ultra. I think I had enough time with it to then go to the Tab S9 Ultra. Whereas this feels like this, don't know where the gap was. It wasn't 18 months. This could have been January, February release next year. And I think, to be honest, that makes a lot of sense. Having a tablet and a phone as a combination, launching side by side, is a really good ecosystem message. Whereas I think launching it so close to the Fold and the Flip, especially the Fold, as the Fold is basically a tablet on its own, but also launching it alongside the Galaxy S24 FE just confuses me a little bit. I might not be the only one. You let me know what you think in the comments down below about how you find launching these two products next to each other. Curious to hear your thoughts. Isolated on its own though, I like the hardware. I liked the Tab S9 Ultra, so of course that's no surprise. This notch has absolutely no issues for me whatsoever. In fact, I like the functionality of the two cameras at the top. And overall, I think I just find the tablet to be really nice. That display upgrade will make a huge difference. And I imagine when I do my full review, that's going to be very prominent in it. Now, what do you think? Are you going to pick up a Tab S10 Ultra or are you going to skip it? Hit subscribe to SamMobile TV for more coverage on the Tab S10 Ultra, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.